All right, so FIU gets the win over Kennesaw State 24-16. But if you just look at that final score, you are missing the entire story of this game. Seriously, this wasn't some slow, grinded-out victory. Nope, this was a straight-up masterclass in offensive efficiency, and it leaves us with a really fascinating puzzle.
So let's just dive right into the big question, right? How in the world do you win a football game when the other team has the ball for almost 5 full minutes longer than you do? I mean, Kennesaw State controlled the clock, they had way more possession, and they still walked away with the loss. It just goes to show you, it's not about how long you have the ball, it's all about what you do with it. And the answer, the whole story, it's right here in these numbers. Look at this. Kennesaw State, they clearly win the time of possession battle. No question. But the metric that actually decided the game, yards per play. FIU averaged a massive 9.6 yards every single time they snapped the ball. That's nearly double Kennesaw State's 5.6. That difference right there, that's the entire game. It was all about quality, not quantity.
So, you might be wondering, where did this explosion even happen? It wasn't spread out over the whole game. Not at all. FIU basically won this thing in one absolutely breathtaking stretch, all in the second quarter. They built their entire lead in what honestly felt like the blink of an eye.
I mean, the speed of this was just incredible. In the second quarter alone, you had a 47-yard touchdown. Okay, great. Then, not even 5 minutes later, boom, a 75-yard bomb. And then, as if that wasn't enough, less than 2 minutes after that one, they hit another one from 67 yards out. We're talking 3 plays, 189 yards, and 21 points in just a few minutes of game time. That is how you win a game without needing the ball for very long.
So who were the architects behind this offensive blitz? Well, this wasn't really a traditional team effort. It was a handful of key guys executing with almost perfect precision. So let's meet the players who made up this efficiency engine.
And you have to start with the quarterback, Keon Jenkins. I mean, the guy was practically perfect. You complete 13 of only 15 passes, that's an 87% completion rate. He threw for 269 yards, 3 touchdowns, and get this, 0 interceptions. That isn't just a good game, folks. That is surgical. He was in complete control, just picking his spots and hitting them every single time.
And of course, Jenkins' receivers were right there with him. Tarvarish Dawson turned just three catches into a ridiculous 147 yards and 2 of those long touchdowns. Meanwhile, you've got running back Kejon Owens showing off his versatility, grabbing 2 passes for 52 yards and a score. Just think about that for a second. Between just those 2 guys, 5 catches resulted in 199 yards and all 3 of the team's touchdowns. Wild.
And hey, the coaching staff, they know exactly what kind of weapon they have in Owens. Coach Hardunk-Trude said it himself. The run game is still coming along, but Keyshawn's been outstanding as a receiver. So this isn't some accident, you know? Using him as a receiver is a core part of their whole high-efficiency game plan.
But, and there's always a but, that brings us to the other side of the coin. For all the fireworks we saw in the air, the story on the ground was, well, completely different. This victory really did paper over a pretty big ongoing weakness for FIU.
I mean, the difference between their passing game and their running game is just, it's jarring. Look at this. FIU averaged almost 18 yards every single time they threw the football. And then they averaged a measly 3.1 yards when they ran it. That's not just an imbalance. That's like 2 totally different offenses playing for the same team. One is absolutely elite, and the other can barely get started.
And here's the bottom line for the whole game. 59, that's it. 59 total rushing yards. Now, it didn't end up mattering against Kennesaw State because that passing game was just so unstoppable, but that number right there, that's a major red flag as they move forward.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. What does this one particular win, with its kind of weird, lopsided stats, what does it mean for FIU's season as a whole? You know, where does this fit into the bigger picture?
Well, this victory caps off a perfect 3-0 start to their conference schedule. They've now knocked off UNT, they've beaten WKU, and now Kennesaw State. They are sitting in a commanding position in Conference USA, and they are building some serious momentum.
So here we are, 7 games into the season with a 6-1 record, and this team's identity is crystal clear. This is who they are. They are an explosive, big play passing team that wins by creating these massive chunk plays through the air, even if it means being completely one-dimensional.
And that, right there, brings us to the ultimate question for the rest of their season. We've seen they can win this way. But can they keep winning like this, especially against tougher opponents who know exactly what's coming? Is this offensive high-wire act sustainable enough to actually carry them all the way to a championship? Well, I guess that's the story we're all about to watch unfold.